Kahadasa Raghunatha Patita Pavan. Kahamara Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaviraj. Eka kale kota gela gora nataraj. Eka kale kota gela gora nataraj. Pashane kathiva mata annale pashiva. Gauranga gunera nidhi kotagere pabo. Se sabha sangira sange yekolo vilas. Se sangana paya kande naratamadas. Anila prema dana karuna pracho. And a Prabhu kota gela acharya Thakur. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy, who is filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivas Acharya gone? Where are my Sarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta, and where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against a rock and enter into fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all these devotees, in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottam Das simply weeps. So, this was a song by Narottam Das Thakur, and it's a song, it's lamentation due to separation from the Lord and his associates. So it's a song where he's lamenting spiritually about all the wonderful personalities who he either had direct or indirect association with, but they're gone, they left the world. So today is the disappearance of Haridas Thakur. which means he left the world, a great Vaishnav, guru, teacher, saint within this tradition. So we sing that song every time there's a disappearance day of a great personality. Today it's Haridas Thakur.
Haridas Thakur was the Namacharya.
Yeah. Om Gyanativarandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshulan Malitamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vakam Karivachalam Pangam Langayate Grimya Kripahatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Ditananan Pancha Kapudivishya Kipasanaveva Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namanamaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it says that the devotees who, specifically the devotees like Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaura Gurdas Babaji and Srila Prabhupada, and devotees specifically sent to the material world to fulfill purpose, it says that their birth is just like the rising of the sun. They're very beautiful. And also, their leaving this world is like the setting of the sun, which is also beautiful. Some devotees, maybe they weren't born, in the material world to take on the mission of Krishna or spread Krishna consciousness. They were just born like everybody else. So maybe we can't say that their birth was necessarily like the rising of the sun. But upon them becoming devotees and spreading Krishna consciousness, we could say that their leaving this world is like the setting of the sun. So all of us, maybe our birth wasn't like, the rising of the sun or something, but maybe we could be like setting of the sun, right? Our disappearance, our death. But anyways, Haridas Thakur and many devotees are like that. So Haridas Thakur, associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur. He's the charya, or the teacher, in relation to the holy name. He teaches how to chant properly, and he chants a lot. It said every day before taking his one meal, he would finish. Anyone remember how many rounds he chanted? Ryan, you remember? 192. That's right. 192 rounds. We chant 16. Sometimes we have a hard time, making the time to complete them all and do all of our other activities. But he would chant 192 rounds. So that means he probably wasn't sleeping much. Yeah, 16 hours. Before he would take his one meal, he would chant that much. So therefore he's Namacharya. He's the ideal personality in relation to chanting the holy name. So there's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a section where it describes his, whole chapter. Not just a section, but a whole chapter, which describes, so this is Antya-lila, the last one, volume 2, and the Passion of Haridas Thakur, chapter 11. So if everybody could please repeat after me. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, Passing of Haridas Thakur. Text 1. Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto Haridas Thakur and his master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who danced with the body of Haridas Thakur on his lap. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is very merciful and who is very dear to Advaita Acharya and Lord Nityananda. All glories to the master of Srinivas Thakur, all glories to the master of Haridas Thakur, all glories to the dear master of Gadadhar Pandit, all glories to the master of the life of Swarup Damodar. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is very dear to Kashi Mishra. So these are all different associates of Lord Chaitanya. He's saying glories, 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 right? He is the life of Jagadananda and the Lord of Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Goswami. All glories to the transcendental form of Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My dear Lord, kindly give me shelter at lotus feet by your causeless mercy. All glories to Lord Nityananda, who is the life and soul of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My dear Lord, kindly give me engagement in devotional service at your lotus feet. All glories to Advaita Acharya, who is treated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as superior due to his age and respectability. Please give me engagement in devotional service at your lotus feet. So there's a lot of all glories here. It's still going. Okay, we got a few more. All glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For the Lord is their life and soul. All of you kindly bestow devotional service upon me. All glories to Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Gopal Bhatta Goswami, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They are all my masters. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is known throughout he wrote Chaitanya Charitamrita and other books, but he's known for his humility because he even asks the readers sometimes, right? He expresses his humility towards the readers, which is us. I am writing this narration of the pastimes and attributes of the Lord by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. I do not know how to write properly, but I am purifying myself by this writing this description. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri with his personal devotees and enjoyed congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. In the daytime, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged in dancing and chanting and seeing the temple of Lord Jagannath. At night, in the company of his most confidential devotees, such as Ramananda Roy. We're missing Ramananda Roy this morning, right? Roy, Bhakta Roy. Missing Ramananda Roy. And Swarup Damodar Goswami, he tasted the nectar of the transcendental mellows of Lord Sri Krishna's pastimes. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very happily passed his days in this way at Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, feeling separation from Krishna. He exhibited many transcendental symptoms all over his body. Day after day the symptoms increased, and at night they increased even more. And these symptoms, such as transcendental anxiety, agitation, and talking like a madman, were present, just as they are described in the Shastras. So that room is still there in Jagannath Puri. When devotees go to Jagannath Puri, there's the room, the Gambhira, small, very small room. And said that the devotees would place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in there because he would be so mad with love for Krishna that he would almost, they were in fear that he would hurt himself, because he would be doing very extreme things. Remember what he was doing, right? Yeah, he'd rub his face against the wall and, till blood and this is all an ecstatic love, separation from God, separation from Krishna. So they would place him in that room, and then so he wouldn't get out, but sometimes still he would get out and go around the town. Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy, the chief assistants in Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, remained with him both day and night. So they're like making sure everything was all right. One day, Govinda, the personal servant of Mahaprabhu, went in great devotion to deliver the remnants of Lord Jagannath's food to Haridas Thakur. When Govinda came to Haridas, he saw that Haridas Thakur was lying on his back and chanting his rounds very slowly. He was lying on his back, chanting very slowly. Please rise and take your Mahaprasadam, Govinda said. Haridas Thakur replied, Today I shall observe fasting. I have not finished chanting my regular number of rounds. How then can I eat? But you have brought Mahaprasad, and how can I neglect it? So I can't. He has to finish his rounds, but then he said, you brought Mahaprasad, but I can't neglect it. So right. Saying this, he offered prayers to Mahaprasadam, took a little portion, and ate it. So we could go through the chapter, I'll just try to give it the essence of what's in the purports. Prabhupada's making the point in the purports that, we should honor prasadam. When we get it, we should honor it. Even if, we have we should accept it, whoever gives us. And even if you could say we don't want it, this, that, we could save it, give it to somebody else like that. That's Haridas Thakur's teaching here. The next day, Mahaprabhu went to Haridas's place and inquired from him, "Haridas, are you well?" Haridas offered his obeisances to the Lord and replied, "My body is all right, but my mind and intelligence are not well." Mahaprabhu further inquired from Haridas, "Can you ascertain what your disease is?" Haridas Thakur replied, anyone besides Dravida Prabhu remember what Haridas Thakur replied? What he said the problem was? What your disease is? Yeah. Ryan said, which is right. Haridas Thakur replied, "My disease is that I cannot complete my rounds." Purport. If one cannot complete the fixed number of rounds he is assigned, he should be considered to be in a diseased condition of spiritual life. Srila Haridas Thakur is called Namacharya. Of course, we cannot imitate him, but everyone must chant a prescribed number of rounds. In our ISKCON movement, we have fixed 16 rounds as a minimum, so that the Westerners will not feel burdened. Because Prabhupada would say that he made the point that Westerners, the mind's very, got to active, you got to do stuff and this and that, so you can't peacefully sit down and chant. The 16 rounds must be chanted and chanted loudly so that one can hear himself and others. So that's an important point, because sometimes devotees, they don't finish their rounds. They say, "Oh, I'll finish tomorrow. I'm tired," or, "I did a lot today," or whatever the case might be. But then, 14 rounds today, and then the next day, okay, well, I finished 16, but those other two, I have something to do, this and that. And then by the time, it goes by, we're not chanting 16 rounds a day, we're chanting 14, 13, 12, like that. And then time goes by, you got 80 rounds. You're behind 80 rounds. And if you're intelligent and fortunate, you'll make those rounds up. But 80 rounds anyways. I'll continue with my 16. So my Guru Maharaj, he had that heart surgery, and for however much he was in the hospital, and then after that, he actually had no energy to chant. He was completely, the body and everything. So for quite a while, and I forgot, he fell back like a lot of rounds. But he said he kept count of them, and then he completed them all later. So yeah, we have to be careful that we don't. Sometimes we may have to sleep less. Better finish the rounds than sleep, actually. Miss lunch. Yeah. Heaven forbid, miss lunch. My God, I want to do that. Actually, the body could subsist without food, at least for a day, for God's sake, miss a few meals. Anyways, we should try to chant, So, Lord Chaitanya said, "Now that you have become old," the Lord said, "you may reduce the number of rounds you chant daily. You are already liberated, and therefore you need not follow the regular principles very strictly. Your role in this incarnation is to deliver the people in general. You have sufficiently preached the glories of the holy name in this world." The Lord concluded, "Now, therefore, please reduce the fixed number of times you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra." Haridas Thakur replied, "Kindly hear my plea. Kindly hear my real plea. I was born in an inferior family. My body is most abominable. I always engaged in low work. Therefore, I am the lowest, most condemned of men. I am unseeable and untouchable, but you have accepted me as your servant. This means that you have delivered me from a hellish condition and raised me to the Vaikuntha platform. My dear Lord, you are a fully independent personality of Godhead. You act by your own free will. You cause the whole world to dance and act as you like. My dear Lord, by your mercy you have made me dance in many ways. For example, I was offered the Shadapatra, which should have been offered to first-class Brahmins. I ate from it even though I was born in a family of meat-eaters. I've had one desire for a very long time. I think that quite soon, my Lord, you will bring to close your pastimes within this material world. So Haridas Thakur is saying he feels that Lord Chaitanya is going to leave, or knows somehow. I wish that you not show me this closing chapter of your pastimes. Before that time comes, kindly let my body fall down in your presence. So he's saying, I would like to go before you. That's what he's saying. I like to die before you. I like to leave my body before you. I wish to catch your lotus feet upon my heart and see your moon-like face. With my tongue I shall chant your holy name, Sri Krishna Chaitanya. That is my desire. Kindly let me give up my body in this way. O most merciful Lord, if by your mercy it is possible, kindly grant me my desire. Let this low-born body fall down before you. You can make possible this perfection of all my desires. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Haridas, Krishna is so merciful that he must execute whatever you want. So this is an interesting point too, because Lord Chaitanya is saying that Krishna is merciful that he must execute whatever you want, but many people want many things, right? And is God merciful? Yeah, he's merciful, but then why doesn't he give everything to everybody what they want? Well, maybe because it's not good for them, that's one. But in relation to a pure devotee, like Haridas Thakur, Lord Chaitanya is saying that Krishna is merciful and he'll fulfill your desires. So he fulfills the desires of the pure devotees, people who are completely dedicated to Krishna. So if we want, you could say, Krishna's mercy, then we should be connected to pure devotees, and on the pure devotees will talk to Krishna, you could say, on our behalf, and there's a special connection there. But whatever happiness is mine is all due to your association. It is not fitting for you to go away and leave me behind. Catching the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, do not create an illusion. Although I am so fallen, you must certainly show me this mercy. My Lord, there are many respectful personalities, millions of devotees who are fit to sit on my head. They're all helpful in your pastimes. My Lord, if an insignificant insect like me dies, what is the loss? So, if an ant dies, where is the loss to the material world? My Lord, you are always affectionate to your devotees. I am just an imitation devotee, but nevertheless I wish to fulfill my desire. That is my expectation. Because he had to perform his noon duties, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up to leave, but it was settled that the following day, after he saw Lord Jagannath, he would return to visit Haridas Thakur. After embracing him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to perform his noon duties and went to the sea to take his bath. The next morning, after visiting Jagannath Temple, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accompanied by all his devotees, went hastily to see Haridas Thakur. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the devotees came before Haridas Thakur, who offered his respects to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the Vaishnavas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, my dear Haridas, what is the news? Haridas Thakur replied, my Lord, whatever mercy you can bestow upon me. Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately began great congregational chanting in the courtyard. Rakreshwara Pandit was the chief dancer. Headed by Sri Damodar Goswami, all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu surrounded Haridas Thakur and began congregational chanting. In front of all the great devotees like Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to describe the holy attributes of Haridas Thakur. As he described the transcendental attributes of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seemed to possess 5 mouths. The more he described, the more his great happiness increased. So Lord Chaitanya, Krishna, God, he wants to glorify the devotee Haridas Thakur. That's the nature of the relationship. After hearing of the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur, all the devotees present were struck with wonder. They all offered their respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sit down in front of him, and then he fixed his eyes like 2 bumblebees on the lotus face of the Lord. He held the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on his heart, and then took the dust of the feet of all the devotees present and put it on his head. He began to chant the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya again and again. As he drank the sweetness of the face of the Lord, tears constantly glided down from his eyes. While chanting the holy name of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, he gave up his air of life and left his body. So he left. Seeing the wonderful death of Haridas Thakur by his own will, which was just like the great mystic yogis, everyone remembered the passing away of Bhishma. Bhishma. There was a tumultuous noise as they all chanted the holy name, Hari, Krishna, and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became overwhelmed with ecstatic love. The Lord raised the body of Haridas Thakur and placed it on his lap. Then he began to dance in the courtyard in great ecstatic love. Because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love, all the devotees were helpless, and in ecstatic love they all also began to dance and chant congregationally. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced for some time, and then Sri Damodar Goswami informed him of other rituals for the body of Thakur Haridas. The body of Haridas Thakur was then raised onto a carrier that resembled an airship and taken to the sea, accompanied by congregational chanting. Mahaprabhu danced in front of the procession, and Vrikeshwara Pandit, along with other devotees, chanted and danced behind him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed the body of Haridas Thakur in the sea and then declared, "From this day on, this sea has become a great pilgrimage site." Ryan bathed there, right? Yeah, Ryan bathed there. I went there too. We were there together, actually. Everyone drank the water that had touched the lotus feet of Haridas Thakur, and then they smeared remnants of Lord Jagannath's sandalwood pulp over Haridas Thakur's body. After a hole was dug in the sand, the body of Haridas Thakur was placed into it. Remnants from Lord Jagannath, such as his silken rope, sandalwood pulp, food, and cloth, were placed on the body. All around the body, the devotees performed congregational chanting. Vrikeshwara Pandit danced in jubilation. With his transcendental hands, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally covered the body of Haridas Thakur with sand, chanting, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol." The devotees covered the body of Haridas Thakur with sand and then constructed a platform upon the site. The platform was protected all around by fencing. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and chanted all around the platform, and as the holy name of Hari roared tumultuously, the whole universe became filled with the vibration. So they're celebrating Haridas Thakur going back to Godhead, to the spiritual world. After Sankirtan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in the sea with his devotees, swimming and playing in the water in great jubilation. After circumambulating the tomb of Haridas Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Singhadwara gate of the Jagannath temple. The whole city chanted in congregation, and the tumultuous sound vibrated all over the city. Approaching the Singhadwara gate, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread his cloth and began to beg prasadam from all the shopkeepers there. "I am begging prasadam for a festival honoring the passing away of Haridas Thakur," the Lord said. "Please give me alms." Hearing this, all the shopkeepers immediately came forward with big baskets of prasadam, which they jubilantly delivered to Lord Chaitanya. So there's only not that many verses left. However, Sri Damodar stopped them, and the shopkeepers returned to their shops and sat down with their baskets. Sri Damodar sent Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu back to his residence and kept him with 4 Vaishnavas and 4 servant carriers. Sri Damodar said to all the shopkeepers, "Deliver to me 4 palmfuls of prasadam for each and every item." In this way, varieties of prasadam were collected, then packed up in different loads and carried on the heads of the 4 servants. Not only did Sri Damodar Goswami bring prasadam, but Vaninath Patnayaka and Kashimisha also sent large quantities. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made all the devotees sit in rows and personally began to distribute the prasadam, assisted by 4 other men. So yeah, this is describing that, upon the death of a Vaishnava, or the Vaishnava leaving the world, it's a celebration in the sense that the Vaishnava is going back to Godhead, and part of that is distribution of prasadam. So this is the nice thing in Gaudiya Vaishnava. It's not that, the person dying, he's all freaked out and scared and losing it and terrified. And then once the person dies, it's not that everybody else is around him, depressed and angry, and let's open up the bottles of, alcohol and take out the, unmentionable food stuff and then forget about all this, move on with our life like we're never going to die. But it's a time for like a celebration of the devotee's life. So that's a nice thing, actually. And it says here that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he personally served the prasadam. So if Lord Chaitanya is doing it, I think we should do it too. So we have that opportunity on Sunday, every Sunday. right? Trivida Prabhu, when he's here, he likes distributing the prasadam to everybody. He says that you could only have so much, right? You could only enjoy so much sweet rice, only enjoy so much malpura, right? How many malpura, you could only enjoy so much puris. But if you serve out to everybody, then you could enjoy more, because you see everybody else enjoying. Like that. So Lord Chaitanya would serve personally the devotees, so we don't have to be shy in relation to that. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was, this is 82, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not accustomed to taking prasadam in small quantities. So that we could follow easily. But he therefore put on each plate what at least 5 men could eat. Sri Damodar Goswami requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, see, this is the thing, we have to take the instructions in full, right? It says, Lord Chaitanya made all the devotees sit in rows and he personally distributed the prasadam. So that's one of the first things we have to do, right? But in the next thing it says, he put on so much prasadam, for the devotees, like five men were eating. So we can't just follow, oh, well, I'll put as much prasadam on the plate that 5 men can have, and then I won't do the serve out, We have to follow both. Just like it says that the Brahmins, it says that they eat on behalf of the Lord, right? It says that, but they also have to speak on behalf of the Lord. Sri Damodar Goswami requested Mahaprabhu, please sit down and watch. With these men to help me, I shall distribute the prasadam. The 4 men, Sri Damodar, Jagadananda, Kashishvara, and Shankar, distributed the prasadam continuously. All the devotees who sat down would not eat the prasadam as long as the Lord had not eaten. On that day, however, Kashi Mishra had extended an invitation to the Lord. Therefore, Kashi Mishra personally went there and delivered prasadam to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great attention and made him eat. With Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down and accepted the prasadam. When he began to eat, so did all the Vaishnavas. Everyone was filled up to the neck because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu kept telling the distributors, give them more. Give them more. After all the devotees finished accepting prasadam and had washed their hands and mouths, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decorated each of them with a flower garland and sandalwood pulp. So this is how you do it, Ryan. When the guests come, you give them, and Janardhan and everybody else, when the guests come, you give them prasadam, and then afterwards, if you really want to follow the Chaitanya Charitamrita, you give them the sandalwood pulp and also the garland. Overwhelmed with ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered a benediction to all the devotees, which all the devotees heard with great satisfaction. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave this benediction: anyone who has seen the festival of Sri Haridas Thakur is passing away. Anyone who has chanted and danced here, anyone who has offered sand on the body of Haridas Thakur, and anyone who has joined this festival to partake of the prasadam will achieve the favor of Krishna very soon. There is such wonderful power in seeing Haridas Thakur. Being merciful upon him, Krishna gave me the association of Haridas Thakur. Being independent in his desires, he has now broken that association. When Haridas Thakur wanted to leave this material world, it was not within my power to detain him. Simply by his will, Haridas Thakur could give up his life and go away, exactly like Bhishma, who previously died simply by his own desire, as we have heard from Shastra. Haridas Thakur was the crown jewel on the head of this world. Without him, this world is now bereft of its valuable jewel. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told everyone, say, all glories to Haridas Thakur. Jai. Jai Jai Haridas Thakur, the verse says. And chant the holy name of Hari, Hari Bol. Saying this, he personally began to dance. Everyone began to chant, all glories to Haridas Thakur, who revealed the importance of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Jai 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 Haridas. Thereafter, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to all the devotees, and he himself, with mixed feelings of happiness and distress, took rest. This Mataji, Kulanganash Mataji, in London, I guess my Guru Maharaj, when he would stop by London, they were God brother and God sister. And he said that when she passed away, he thought about this verse, because he was mixed with feelings of happiness and distress, from about her leaving. Thus I have spoken about the victorious passing away of Haridas Thakur. All right, so here we go. Here's the benediction, Ryan. You ready? Everybody ready for the benediction? Anyone who hears this narration will certainly fix his mind firmly